Well, good morning, George. Good morning to you all. You know, when we talk about infertility, the assumption is often that it's the woman's issue. The man's role is rarely talked about, and the stigma doesn't help either. This morning, one couple wants everyone to know, though, it's okay to talk to people, it's okay to rely on friends, and it's really okay to seek help.
She was born on December 21st, 2018 at 1:12. It's the best day ever.
It was a dream come true.
But for Candace and Timothy Farris, the road to meeting their daughter has been an emotional, at times painful, and expensive 10-year journey.
We've spent easily $150,000 just over the last 10 years trying everything that you can to conceive.
The couple started trying for a baby right after they got married, without success. Then doctors discovered Candace had multiple fibroids, non-cancerous growths in the uterus.
It was very scary. Maybe that was what was causing us to not be able to have children.
But then when the doctor said that they weren't in a place that was prohibiting a pregnancy, her doctor actually said, well, you know what, let's have Tim checked out. What I had was called poor motility and poor mobility. Over time, my count did continuously decrease.
While Candace had her fibroids removed, Timothy had surgery to improve his fertility by improving blood flow to the area. But it wasn't successful. With about 35% of couples struggling with infertility, both the man and woman are contributing factors. In about 8%, a male factor is the only recognizable cause. The couple would go through 2 failed fertility treatments and 1 failed round of IVF.
I went in and got my blood test done 10 days after the transfer, and I found out that both of the embryos actually implanted but stopped growing at some point.
Finally, their second IVF treatment brought the miracle they'd been waiting for.
When we first got married, I heard the name Victory, and I was like, oh, that's such a beautiful name. And then after a 10-year struggle, it was like the name has so much more meaning because it's literally a victory after everything we've gone through. We've got our sweet victories.
And congratulations to the Farrises. You know, they still have 2 frozen embryos. So once Candace is fully healed from her C-section, they plan to try again, and hopefully they'll have another sibling or 2 for little Victory.
That would be great. Juju, thanks very much. Jen Ashton is back. Happy birthday.
Thank you, George.
You know, the story, happy ending there, but an eye-opener, I think, for a lot of people.
Yeah, and you know what? As Juju said, in our field, reproductive health, OBGYN, infertility, the focus always tends to be on the woman. This is something that we cite in the medical literature, male factor infertility, as occurring 30 to 40% of the time. So we have to remember that while the focus is usually on the woman, we have to look at the man as well. It's
so what
so
are the signs to look for?
Well, you know what's interesting is that right now, sperm health is actually looked at as a biomarker, as a window into overall male health, which is relatively new. But there are some clues that it could be male factor. Number 1, loss of body hair in the man. Chronic severe illnesses all over the body also have the ability to affect sperm. A history of drug use, and smoking, bad for your lungs, bad for the rest of your body, also bad for sperm. And steroid or testosterone use, good for muscles, possibly really bad for sperm.
How about age?
Age is a factor. You know, again, men, obviously, as we know, their sperm can work up to their 60s, 70s, and 80s, but there is an effect as well on the male factor, and we see a slightly increased risk of schizophrenia and autism in the offspring of children born to older dads. So again, there is a biological clock at play for men as well.
And one of the things we wanted to hear is erase any stigma around
Yeah, you know
this.
what? I think we hear, again, so much about how fertility is kind of thought of as it makes a woman a woman. Of course, that's not true. Men can go through the same stigma, and they can think, if something is wrong with my sperm, it makes me less of a man. This is obviously not the case. And again, we need to increase awareness on this.
Just a health issue, Jen.
Yeah.
Thanks
and I want to
much.
thank my mom for giving birth to me.
We're all grateful for that.